Okay, folks, welcome back to another fantastic edition of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. Today's guest, we have Brian Powers of Brian Powers Consulting. And Brian, as I mentioned, he's a consultant that services both businesses and property owners. Brian's done work with property managers, HOAs, and property owners. He told me that he turns confusion and conflict into congruence in both business and in property ownership. Brian, thank you so much for being a guest with us today, man.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, Brian, I wanted to chat with you because you come from the blue collar space. You also have a business called Brian Powers Construction down here in San Clemente, California. That's South Orange County for those unfamiliar. And I thought it was only natural when you mentioned to me your consulting business that you would go into something like this because you are a guy who's got years and years of experience in something that's generally pretty difficult to navigate, right? In contracting and building new homes, right? Or doing remodels. There's a lot of difficulty that comes with that. And you talked to me about the two facets of your consulting business here, how you're doing this on the construction end, but also for business owners too, which is kind of neat. So I wanted to ask you, like, what bore that? Why did this business kind of get its start?
Well, the first thing was that I've been doing this for such a long time, over 35 years in the construction industry and owning my own business, that people from time to time would get referred to me as a go-to person, somebody that really understood the construction business and how to get things done, but also how to problem solve. When I'm dealing with people, I'm good with people and understanding what people are thinking and how to get them to understand different facets, because not everybody's going to be a 35-year veteran in construction. Not everybody's going to understand all the different parts and facets of projects. And sometimes they can get themselves into situations where they either tried to start the project themselves, hired somebody that was really unqualified, or even hired a licensed contractor where they're ending up in conflict, where they're like, what do we do now? We have this situation. We've started this project. So people have referred me to these other folks, say, well, why don't you talk to another contractor that I know that's really good? And so what has happened is that over time, that's become actually a go-to industry for me, because I found there's a lot of need and interest for people, number one, to figure out what kind of projects they want to do, how to solve problems that they're dealing with. They might have a leak problem, or there could be a multitude of different things happening, cracks in the building. Why is it happening? Do I get an engineer? Do I get an architect? What do I do? So the idea is that I come in with 35 years of experience, help bring those teams together, as well as explain to people what they can do and what their options are.
And I mean, you bring, like you were saying, all this experience, but you've got such, an amount of wisdom from, those years on the job. And I thought it was interesting because you've got, like I said, two facets here. You've got the construction side of the consulting business, but then you're also doing this for business owners too. Not a business coach per se, but almost like that, right? Like business owners you found are wondering, okay, where do I go next? What do I do when I've got a one-man show or a small sales team and I don't know where the heck to go next? You're there to also kind of guide that process along, right?
Absolutely. What we find is, because I've been a small business owner to a medium-sized business owner over the past 35 years, that
Yeah.
I've also done a lot of that personal work and that individual work to overcome certain parts of the, just human understanding about ourselves, to get past the blocks, to expand our opportunities, and really to teach that to the next set of people. So to your sales team or to your organization, and then try to find ways that you can just harmonize with your whole team, so everybody's on the same page, the same energy, and really deliver that message to increase sales, to make things more pleasing around the work environment, and really just to get the success and to keep those key players, those key positions, those people that you're with, that we want to make sure that they're happy and they understand what they're doing, so that way they can have success in their job. They're going to want to stay put.
Right. And now, I mean, it's all, we talked for like probably 45 minutes before we started shooting this thing, but I mean, it's really all kind of coming into clear focus for me because, what you offer at your firm is not just, a little bit of help on a construction project that might have gone awry, or a way to, take that next step as a business owner. I mean, what it is, it's born out of this experience, which is like such a theme of this, shoot that we've done already today. You've got experience in not only scaling your own construction company, but dealing with that conflict that inevitably comes with it, which I think from a guy like you is incredibly helpful to somebody who might not know the next way to go. So that leads me into this question I always ask my guests, which is, why should somebody talk to Brian Powers Consulting over anybody else out there who might be offering something similar? Apart from experience, what is that, Brian?
Well, I would say that when I talk to my clients, the kind of feedback that I hear is that I get them, that they can understand the way that I communicate with them. They really never heard it that way before. And so when you're trying to resolve conflict, or you're trying to put a different idea or a mindset, in with a sales team or a group of people, an individual, getting to be able to understand and come from a position of, I'm not to say influence, but just understanding to be able to deliver that and show that picture to somebody else and they can get it. That comes from just being understanding people, understanding what it is that we're working on. Other than that, I would also say that there's an intention and a discipline to solve problems. So I'm not going to look for blame. I'm not going to look for who's the target. It's really about the what's wrong, the who's wrong, and what's happening within each set of subjects. Because I'm being consulting there because there's a problem. I'm consulting there because there's an improvement that's necessary. There's something that whatever the condition is now, the condition would be better if it was a different situation. So that's what I can do, is I can come in and look at that and say, okay, I can see your future. I can see your way out of this, because I turn that, like you said, you said at the beginning, you said turning that confusion into congruence, confusion into understanding, that confusion into a path forward. And also, obviously, you're in conflict resolution. Whenever you're getting into different people, there's always a possibility to result in different viewpoints. So sometimes it can be a husband and wife, sometimes it can be an HOA board, and sometimes it can be, a small business and their business partners, where you really have to start to understand, how do you communicate the different points of view, so that different points of view can have an understanding, so that they can resolve the conflict, that they can move forward, that they can really grow together and help each other in that process.
I mean, you said to me before we started shooting, you said, it's kind of getting people on the same page about how difficult or how easy it would be to achieve this, and setting that expectation correctly. I mean, you're engineering value here with what you deliver to those clients of yours. And I think that's, I want to echo that value that you mentioned. It's that confusion into congruence. It's that confusion into a path forward, which I think would really only be served best to have done if, we were all just on the same page. And that's where Brian Powers Consulting comes in, which is great.
I enjoy it. I enjoy understanding and getting to know people, and I enjoy problem solving. Looking for ways to make people appreciate and people be happy again. Getting them out of that rut of confusion and chaos.
Exactly. Well, Brian, this has been so fun to shoot with you, man. But before I let you go, I want you to tell our viewers where they can get in touch with you, how they can engage with Brian Powers
Great.
Consulting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're, from the internet, you can get us at brianpowersconsulting.com, BRIAN, Powers with an S, consulting.com. And our telephone number here in the Orange County area is 949-488-3207. But we don't only just handle the Orange County area. We do a lot of consulting, via Skype and Zoom, all over the country, and work with different businesses, throughout other states as well. On-site technology stuff, when we're looking at it, it's going to be the California region. But I've also been, gone to different areas of the country and been an on-site consultant as well. So that is a possibility if someone is in need of that. But basically, just get a hold of us either the internet or by phone.
Beautiful. And folks, a reminder as always, everything that you're going to need to engage with Brian is going to be in the description of the video. Check that out. But in the meantime, Brian, it has been such a treat, man, to have you as a guest. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and look forward to talking to you again.
Know your pros.